Hello, welcome to our Meet the Tutor. I'm just going to run you through the main slides that we used in the presentations so that will cover most of the things that you need to know. And then obviously if you've got anything specific that you want extra information on, you can email your son or daughter's tutor and they will get back to you. So really the role of a tutor is to be that first point of contact. So if you do have any questions ever, or you're not sure who to go to for something, then if you drop an email to the tutor, they can usually point you in the right direction if they don't know the answer themselves. Another kind of logistical part of the job is to do the registration. And at the moment, obviously, we're doing that online, and it is really important that your sons and daughters attend the registration. It's only 10 minutes, and it just makes sure that everybody's there, everybody's up, everybody's ready to learn. And if there are any little issues that need sorting, they can speak to the tutor about it first thing in the day. And then hopefully the tutor can get back to them that day with some solutions and some answers. In terms of absences, we ask you to use the new app, the ESF app, to report the absences. You'll see there's a little kind of button to press there. So you can report your absence through there. Sometimes people like to email the tutor as well, and that's fine, but you must let the kind of central absence team know or reception know, because after 8:15, it's really quite difficult if you're teaching to be checking your emails regularly, and we just might not see it. And especially at the moment, because everything's so virtual online, it really helps if you contact someone centrally if your son or daughter is absent that day. We have a tutor time once a cycle, and that's an hour-long session that we use for a whole variety of things in post-16. It might be looking into the CAS, it might be looking at some university application area. It could just be a kind of general check-in. It could be looking at study skills. So a whole host of things. Sometimes we do separate things for year 12 and 13. We might have different speakers for them, internal and external speakers. So it's really a kind of catch-all where we can cover all the things that are important in post-16 and just really make sure the students are kind of on track with everything. And then on a more personal level, we have our Monday afternoon one-to-one sessions that run every other week, and the students are in there on a regular rotation. They're about 10 or 15 minutes each, and they just give us a chance to check in. With post-16, we do a lot of our CAS work there, so talking about what CAS activities students are doing, talking about what they think they might do for their CAS project and how it's going. Again, around university application time, quite a lot of our discussions are about, what the students are thinking and what they still need to do and how they might go about finding out more information and things like that. So it's just a regular check-in point for the student and the tutor. And again, it just means if they have got any sort of burning concerns that need a little bit more time, that's a good space to talk about those things in. So there's a little bit more about one-to-one on that slide. And then also on a Monday afternoon, we run a series of sessions that might be careers related, study skills related, well-being related. And there's a link to the schedule there so that you can have a look at what's planned for this term. In terms of our HE team, our higher education team, we've got 4 people who work with our students. The 3 counsellors take responsibility for 2 dynasties each, so you'll be able to see who your contact link is for your son or daughter based on their dynasty. They work with that student across the 2 years, and Miss Choi, who is our administrator, supports all of those HE counsellors, and she's also a HE counsellor herself, so she will be supporting Miss Madison this year in particular, because Miss Madison is taking over some of the social emotional well-being counselling. So if you're in Han and Ming, then you can also contact Miss Choi as well. Students and parents can make appointments with their counsellor anytime by email. And obviously now we've got Zoom, that's quite a convenient way to actually check in and chat with them. And we do have a timetable, so you can see it here. I won't talk through it because you can read through it yourselves, but essentially the HE process starts kind of in term 1 of year 12. We encourage students to start going to the visits. At the moment, those are online rather than universities coming into us. But there will be speakers and presentations that students can go to, and we'll put those sorts of things in the bulletin and on the careers website so that you are aware of when they're happening as well. In term 2, they'll meet with their careers counsellor and go for a bit more in-depth discussion, and then it's a case of starting to work on personal statements and starting to think about college essays and what needs to go into those, so that by the time they come into year 13, students are pretty much decided on their choices, where they want to go and study, which universities they're looking at, and they're starting to finalise their application. So at this point in year 13, finishing personal statements, getting all their essays done if they're applying to the States, and really we look to get all of that done sort of October, November time so that the applications are finished. And then term 2 is about, what do you do when your offers start coming in, and looking at how you start then distinguishing between which ones you want to accept and which ones you want to reject. And for Australia and New Zealand, it's a slightly different process because obviously the application and the start times for university are different in the Southern Hemisphere. Lots and lots of information on the careers website for you, and the link is there as well. And then CAS requirements. CAS is an essential part of post-16. It's an expectation for IBDP, IBCP. It's a part of the qualification. If students are doing the ID, it's slightly different because the BTEC doesn't incorporate CAS per se. But of course, all these extracurricular activities that students do go towards their university application. So we encourage all of our students to take part in CAS. They've already had lots of information about CAS and how we might work at the moment online and a bit more virtually, and while there's more restrictions in place. The IB are well aware of the difficulties and are kind of working and giving out lots of suggestions. And Miss Miller has run some sessions already for both year groups to talk about the sorts of CAS experiences that people can do online, the sorts of kind of CAS projects that might work while we're in a bit more of a virtual scenario. So there's no kind of issues with completing the CAS. And I'd say the one thing that I would stress is CAS is the fun part of the IB. It's the fun part of post-16. And the students that kind of get the most out of it are the ones that are doing stuff that they enjoy. So it shouldn't be an additional commitment. It shouldn't be an additional burden. It should be something that really they enjoy anyway, and they just want to build into their program and perhaps extend themselves a little. But it shouldn't be, another big thing to tick off. So I think that's probably a piece of advice. And if your son or daughter seems to be signing up to, another activity, it's not about the quantity of what they do. It's about the quality of what they do and meeting the learning outcomes for CAS. And again, lots more information on the CAS Google Classroom. All the students have access to that. For Year 12 parents, we've been working very hard really from Year 11 to talk to students about their choices, make sure they're on the right pathway, make sure they're on the right subjects. Any kind of changes that students want to make should be discussed with teachers and with the careers advisor. Miss Hannaford, the head of year, is managing the course movements at the moment, so everything kind of needs to go through her. And one thing to bear in mind is that registration for the BTEC courses closes at the end of September. So it's really, really important that we get all of our students that want to do the BTEC pathway onto that pathway by the end of September. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. So if your son or daughter is thinking about it, if they're not sure, please ask them to come and talk to maybe Miss Hannaford in the first instance, and then she can kind of point them in the right direction. If students want to do subject changes within IB DP or IB CP, maybe switch from psychology to geography, for example, we need those requests to come in by September the 25th, so that again, students are making a change early, because otherwise the later it gets, the more and more content they've missed from their new subject that they're moving into, and it becomes harder and harder to catch up. Again, we're working quite hard with lots of students at the moment, but I would encourage you to encourage your sons and daughters to speak up if they do have any doubts, and we can have a chat to them about it. We have a CPG on October the 12th, and that'll be a chance for us to just make sure that everybody is on the right pathway, if everyone is on the right subjects. And if as a G&A team we spot any problems, then we will obviously reach out to you to discuss what can be done. So that's really it for the presentation. I hope it was helpful. As I said at the beginning, if you do have any questions, please use your child's form tutor as the first point of call. And if they're not sure, they will contact somebody else who will come back to you. Okay, thank you very much.